Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today we'll be talking about the Canon EOS 7D and if it is still a good camera to use. Is it a kind of beginner camera now at this point? Seems you can pick these up for under £200 now without a grip. So what we're going to do is, I went to the zoo, I used this camera and I attached it to the 500mm lens and took some photos, and we're going to go through some of those right now, but first let's go over the camera itself, go through the specs, and then we'll talk through the photos, and I'll give you my overall thoughts on if it's worth it or not. Okay, so this is the 7D, so it's the body here. You've got a built-in flash on top. If you start from the top, you've got your release button here, and you've got your pop-up flash there. Never use it, it's not great, to be honest with you. No pop-up flash is great, and you shouldn't really be using them. On top you've got your top screen with all your normal sort of setting displays and everything on there. You've got your white balance and AI drive and ISO buttons all on top there. You've got your slider dial, you've got your shutter button, and then you've got your control dial. I always shoot in manual, but if you're a beginner, you've got your automatic mode, you've got all those sort of stuff there, so you can start from scratch and just work your way along those dials and try them all out and play with them to your heart's content. On the back itself, you've got a 3-inch LCD display, which is quite nice to have a sort of bigger screen than before. They're all like the 2.3-inch tiny screens, but what I found is, reviewing photos when I was at the zoo, they're not massively clear on this screen. So even though it's an LCD, it's not great, but it's better than nothing for sure. You've got a dial up here switching you between camera and camcorder. So you've got HD quality 1280 by 720 on the video functions on here. You've got your camera functions on the right. You can shoot in JPEG and RAW, and you've got a button up here which allows you to change between those two functions right there. You've got a minimum ISO of 100 on here, maximum ISO of 12800 on there. It's an 18 megapixel camera, which is fairly decent. So you've got a lot of quality in the photos, as we've seen. You've got very little in the way of focus points. There's very few physically on there. There's only 19, which just takes some getting used to going back to so few on that. On this version, I've got the grip built in here, which slides in quite easily just from the bottom here. Just slide this out, and then that goes into your camera. Usually you can store the door on the side here, but there's no door stored in here. This is my dad's camera, in fact, not mine. But you just put that back in, screw them back up, and then you've got your door that opens here, where you, on this I've got 2 batteries in here, which are the spare ones from my R7. So it's good to see that those batteries are carried through from quite some time. When you've got the grip installed, you do have your extra buttons down here, and your extra shutter button with your dial there, and on-off switch. The only problem is, when you're changing your focus points, I've got so used to using the sort of joystick. There isn't a joystick down here, so you're going to have to be very wary that when you press that to change your focus point, you either use the wheel here and the wheel here, or you have to lean your thumb right over and grab onto that there. But overall, 8 frames per second this camera has, so it's a good, good frames per second on here. And I think a very, very capable camera, to be honest, considering the age of it. This camera came out in 2009, so it's a fair old lick ago, 13 years ago, and for the money, for £200 is a lot of camera for your money there, for sure. So let's go through the photos that I took with this camera with the 500mm and look through 3 of those photos to sort of show you the quality of what you're going to get out of this camera. So the first photo we're going to look at is of a baboon foraging. So this is shot f4, so you can see everything's nicely sort of blurred out in the foreground and the background here, but the animal itself is sharp, but it's not quite as sharp as what I would expect to see if I was shot the same image on my 1DX. I've become a little bit spoilt with full frame sensors and sort of seeing everything there, but for this, absolutely acceptable photo in my opinion. Nice colours that have come out of it, nice processing, and still nice and sharp where it needs to be. Second image is of Bailey, the male lion at Colchester Zoo. He is a magnificent animal, but let's have a look here. So looking into the eye, super sharp. Focus point was straight on the eye when I took this photo. It's a little bit softer on the right hand side, but that's because I was shooting through some foliage and I think some of that might have caught in front of the lens itself. But really nice image from this, and shows sort of the capabilities of the 7D even now is huge. So really happy with this photo, really happy with how it's come out, and so the detail in the eye is really nice that you can get that from a fairly old camera that's only £200. So really happy with the image quality from that photo. And the final photo is of one of the female tigers at Colchester, just looking up at me here. This was shot slightly at an angle through glass, so maybe not the most amazing representation, but still shows quite well considering the eyes are nice and sharp. Again at f4 just to get through that glass nicely there. Nose is nicely in focus too, nice colours coming through. So again, I think all three of these photos have categorically shown that for £200 you can get a very good camera. That if you're starting out and don't want to spend £400 or £500 on a new one, then going second hand and picking up a 7D for wildlife photography will be absolutely fine, sufficient just to get your foot in the door, as it was. So these are all the photos sort of we've gone through just now, and sort of this overall spec of the 7D itself. So my overall thoughts are on this is, for £200 you can get such an incredible camera. This is the second camera I moved up to. I started with 20D, then moved up to the 7D after that. And for what you get in here, you've got video functions, you've got a fairly capable fast shutter speed, you've got a crop sensor on there, you can add a grip to it as well, and have your variable hand positions and extra battery life. The photo quality obviously isn't quite as sharp as what I get with my 1DX, but you know, even them second hand are about £1,000. This is a fifth of the price of that. And if you're starting off photography and don't have a massive budget but like doing wildlife photography, like shooting zoos, sports, any sort of fast moving action, this is definitely a viable option for you to go for, in my opinion. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you're still using a 7D and what you think of the video and everything I've talked about. And as you're all doing, please subscribe, comment and like as always, and I will catch you guys later on for more content. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.